Hey guys, Alex here from Permitted, and today I'm going to show you how to use a new tool that I built that can help provide some insight into whether or not your business is impacted by the recent Supreme Court case that has effectively ruled that economic nexus is constitutional and states can now begin enforcing their economic nexus legislation. For those of you that don't know, up until recently, economic nexus was unconstitutional and you had to have a physical presence in a state before a state could come to you and say you now have a sales tax collection requirement. But all of that has changed with the Wayfair versus South Dakota case, and now states that have economic nexus legislation in place can now begin enforcing it and forcing business owners to begin collecting and remitting sales tax to their state even if you don't have a physical presence there. So quite a few states have already passed economic nexus legislation, and it can be pretty time consuming to figure out if this even really applies to you and should you be concerned. And this is what this tool helps answer. This tool is not meant to be definitive. We're not providing an in-depth Nexus study for you with this tool. What we're doing is just helping determine, is your business big enough to where you need to start worrying about this and seeking expert advice. If this tool does end up showing you that you potentially have economic nexus in another state, the first thing you should do is contact a sales tax expert. So our company, Permitted, helps small and mid-sized businesses deal with sales tax every day. So we basically take sales tax off your plate. We handle everything for you, from figuring out where you have nexus, helping you decide if you should get compliant, how you should get compliant, whether retroactively or just moving forward, and then getting you set up to collect and remit automatically moving forward. But enough of the sales pitch. Let me show you how to use this tool. So the way this tool works is we look at your total sales across all states, and then we project what your sales and your sales volume would be in a particular state based on the population there. So let me show you how this works. Let's say, for example, we made $10 million in sales. And let's say we have an estimated annual transaction volume of 10,000. What this is going to do now is forecast what your sales and your transaction volume are going to be in a particular state. And let me show you how we do that. I have to go over to the Calculator Logic tab. And each state has either more or less of a population than another state. So what we're doing is we're taking your estimated total annual sales and we're multiplying it by what percent of the US population lives in that particular state. We're also doing that for your transaction volume, and that's where we get our projected sales and projected transaction volume. Then what we do is we compare your projected sales and transactions to what the states have passed in their economic nexus laws. So for example, your projected sales in Alabama here are 150K, but Alabama requires 250K in sales for you to have economic nexus. So because of that, do you potentially have economic nexus there? No. Now, the only way to know for certain to know if this would apply to you is to look at your actual sales into the state and see if you meet the thresholds. But this is a great tool just for doing a quick acid-base test to find out if it even applies. This tool will fall short if you sell a product that is purchased way more in some states than others. So let's say, for example, you sell air conditioning supplies. You're probably going to have way more sales in Arizona, where it's super hot, than somewhere else. And so just using our typical average distribution of, how large is the population in each of these states, that won't really work or apply to you. But if you're just selling, general products online that aren't really centralized or located in any particular state, this is a great tool just to find out whether or not your business potentially has economic nexus in a state. I've also included here whether or not you're an Amazon FBA seller. And if you hit yes here, it will show you all of the states where there are currently Amazon FBA warehouses. So there's also a potential that your inventory is being stored in that state, and you might not only have economic nexus, but you might have a physical presence and get nexus that way. So any of these states where these rows say yes, you need to begin examining those states in more detail and finding out, do you truly have nexus there? That's question one. And then question two is, are you going to get compliant? And then the third question is, how are you going to get compliant? Are you going to get compliant retroactively? And if so, how? Because you have a couple options there, or are you just going to get compliant moving forward? That entire conversation is something that we can have with you for free during an initial consult. It's available on our homepage in the top right-hand corner. Just click free consultation. You'll schedule a time with me and we'll review your entire situation and get you some answers. But for now, this is a great tool just to get you started to find out if it really even applies. All right, take care. Let me know if you have any questions. We'll make sure that this tool is updated in the months and years to come as states begin passing new economic nexus legislation. So be sure to check back here maybe once a quarter, once every few quarters, make a new copy of this tool and just rerun the analysis so that you're never caught off guard. All right, hope you have a great week.